Hello, we're outside Rough Trade in Brooklyn with the Flobots, specifically Flobot 5, also known as Jonny 5, and Brer Rabbit, who also have real names, but we're not going to tell you them because it sounds way more cool and secretive.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely, yeah.
So firstly, how's your tour going so far? How's life?
It's going well. It's been great.
Why do you sound surprised by this? I asked you this earlier and you both sound surprised. You're like, yeah, it's really good. Like it wasn't going to be brilliant.
Well, I mean, one of the things, we just don't take it for granted when people show up.
Right.
So, it's always a pleasant surprise when people that you don't know come up and, enjoy your music and, you're able to give them a good show. I think that keeps us on our toes and, always feeling respectful of the people who come. So that's why we're always surprised. Because, every band usually starts out in a garage. You don't think anybody's ever going to see it. So for us, there's still a part of us that's like, wow, people are here.
And there's always some longtime fan that this is their very first show, and every single time that's special for us.
Absolutely. So how has the reaction been to this album compared to your you've got quite a large discography now, especially if you go pre-Flobot stuff as well, which some people have been on since.
Right.
How has the reaction been to this album in relation to the others?
That's been really gratifying to see people just kind of light up when we play one of the new songs, to see people screaming out the chorus to Quarantine or to American Dreams or something like that. That means a lot because we put a lot of work into this album, and we knew we have a lot of fans coming to the show that were part of the Kickstarter campaign.
Yeah.
So they funded this album. So they're really passionate. They were waiting for it. They're clicking on the update, the refresh to see if it was ever coming out, and the fact that it came out, I think they're super grateful, and we're super grateful to them because we literally would not have done it if we didn't have to. I mean, if we hadn't, that process can be so rigorous, and you can sometimes feel like giving up. That to know that there was this body of fans that had sponsored this album meant so much to us and was really, really encouraging.
Right.
It's the best kind of pressure.
The best pressure.
It's the best kind of pressure. It's very different than in the past where we've had label executives being like, hey, when's your next piece of art going to be done? It's something else when somebody's like, hey, I really love what you do, and I am taking some of my money to make sure that it happens. And you're like, okay, not only are we going to do this, we're going to break our backs trying to deliver the best thing. And people have been very appreciative of it. So it's been the best kind of feedback. Yeah.
Well, I feel like in this album, whereas not that my opinion counts for jack shit,
it absolutely does.
But I feel like as someone that did back the album, I feel like this one's a lot more personal compared to the other ones. Well, the other ones were a lot more political and had very large overarching themes. Obviously, Fight with Tools was the lifting of the curtain to this entire new Flobot world full of wonderful political discussion. And then obviously, Atlantis then sort of brought that into the modern age, and it keeps going and going. This one starts with a phone call, a voicemail.
Right.
And I feel like immediately you just kind of feel like you've been punched in the gut. Even though you've been sort of carried and you feel like you're not alone for all these albums, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, by the way, and it's like, ow, and then this massive emotional, beautiful resonance comes out of it. Did it feel very personal to you while you were making it, or did it still? Did you kind of do the same process you did with all of them?
There's not a same process for any of them.
Right.
And I think the big difference with No Enemies is that we went deeply personal about how do we communicate this?
Right.
It's one thing to be on the soapbox and preaching to the choir and all these other things. It's where are we as activists, as musicians? Where are our families? What is that? What is going on in that situation? Because we felt like at this point in time, we could talk a bit more about this, and the personal can be a bit more universal in some ways.
I mean, there's a way to look at activism and political music that is very flat, that is kind of it's a fist in the air and holding a sign in a march and yelling, fuck the police or something. There's that very flat way to look at it. And then there's all of us who are involved in any sort of activism or political music have full lives, and you have complicated lives, and you have cousins and relatives that are on different sides of these different issues, and you have conversations that can be agonizing or that can be inspiring, or moments that can be debilitating, or moments that can be just absolutely exhilarating. And so we wanted that full range of emotions that happens in the real lives of real people who are involved in social movements. We wanted people to see themselves on this album, their full selves, not just a caricature of an activist.
And not just those who are involved in social movements. We are all swimming in a political climate.
Right.
And so how do we just talking about what we're kind of going through, kind of humanizes the whole process type of thing. And we felt like it was really important. One of the big responses we've gotten from the album is a lot of times people will be like, oh, so you all oh, this song's about Trump. But most of the songs were done before Trump was like a serious candidate.
Right.
But I do feel like that's one of the byproducts of us really going personally and then like going into the world with our ears open.
Right.
Is being able to write something that can still speak to other situations.
So one of the things that I have to obviously talk about for there's no real way of sort of escaping it is the recent controversy between you and Mr. Logan Paul,
right.
who just is hanging out at the minute. He's having a great time doing whatever it is that he does. But he wrote a song where he basically ripped off your bridge of Handlebars.
I can ride your girl with no handlebars. I can ride your girl with no handlebars. No handlebars.
What was it like waking up one morning and being like, hang on a minute, this is clearly ours, and what sort of was the steps behind the scenes before we had the sort of comeback?
Well, the thing is, I mean, it's usually when we hear that somebody has like covered our song or been inspired by our song or in any way like given a shout out to us, it's exciting. That's super exciting. We've had tons of people who do acoustic covers who do something else, and that's exciting. So we like that usually. But this particular time, it was very bizarre because I had been in Japan for a few weeks in October, just on a reconnecting with families that I'd known 20 years ago.
Right.
But the Me Too movement, that Me Too moment, that all happened during October, and so I think like hopefully most men, I was doing a lot of reflecting of like, well, what does this mean for me personally? Like, how do I show support of this in a way that is not like putting a spot, what's the right way to react to this? And I think we as a band, we're putting some thought into like, how do we support this movement? And so we're all in this place of like, how do we further amplify the voices of the women who are making these like brave decisions to speak publicly? On that day, to then see like, oh, who's this guy? Because I didn't know who he was. You're more culturally, so Brer Rabbit's pretty culturally with it, but I had no idea who this person was. And to see like, oh, this is what he's gonna do. He's gonna cover the song or whatever. He's gonna mangle the song in this particular way. Like that's how you're gonna steal our song?
It is. Because there's still a second of hope when like we'd gotten the notification that like somebody on Twitter was telling us, like I was like, well maybe it'll be good. Yeah. Maybe it'll be good. Like okay, let's check it out.
It could be alright.
And that's what we kind of like hoped. We're like okay, and then it was like,
and then you watch the music video and you go,
what's this like? Wait, I Can Ride Your Girl. It was like, oh man.
Yeah.
With like a lot of money invested into a big production video around it. So it was one of those things where we knew we couldn't not say anything about it. We knew we had to speak about it. Whatever else was going to happen, we were going to say something about it.
But recently I was just acquainted with a young man, maybe once fan of ours. Hey look, this guy's covering Handlebars. That's cool, what you say in his bars? Instead of my bike, he says your girl. Oh, that's really clever. Oh, it gets even better. Oh, naturally, these days it has to be thoroughly crafted to be risky fashionable. Oh yeah, you have to see this. His masterpiece is like a master thesis. In this project, he concocts a fascinating twist of logic. Describes a woman's body like it's just an object.
And then you did, and lo and behold, you released this sort of reply in rap form. It exploded, and then kind of talk me through what happened after you hit publish and everyone kind of saw it.
So his video came out, Thanksgiving Day, I think, and we left for tour like maybe 48 hours later. So the response track that had to be written within 12 hours basically. So just making the track as quick as possible was the first thing, and then we knew that like we were not the only people that would see that and have a WTF moment.
Right.
So we're like, look, let's just put this out there and let it resonate with people and do whatever we can do to kind of put a foot in the door, because his fans are young. His fans are like the children of some of the people in our band. And so it's important that this doesn't become some personal thing. And you saw in the media that people like to sort of make it like as if it's personal. We don't like hate Logan Paul. What we hate is that piece of art.
Right.
It's bad art. It's bad art.
Yeah, you make art. We're artists. We're reacting to the art. That's our job. It is our obligation to react to art, and it's our obligation to react to whatever that message is, whatever like their spin or take on things is, and that was our take.
And also, people get it twisted. We're rappers. Right. Like this is the terrain.
As I said, this is literally like breakfast for you.
Yes,
like, wake
absolutely.
up, have a beef.
It's like, oh well, fantastic. But also like our beefs are never with other artists.
Right.
There was systems of oppression and all these things. And unfortunately, at this point in time, Logan Paul chose to embody that system of oppression at that time. Like we had to speak out about it. He's literally riding women in the video. And so I remember talking to Jamie. It's like, you know what? He chose the wrong situation.
Right.
Like Jamie is a super dope lyricist.
Right.
So it's just like, all right, yeah, man, just let it go. Just let it go. And the way that we practice, like, no enemies is also like a true like ideology for us.
Right.
And it's not an easy one for us. So even in the process, like Jamie's like, okay, I'm gonna call him out, and I'm hopefully gonna try to call him in.
Right.
So it wasn't like vitriolic. It's just like, hey, why now? Why in the way that you're doing it? And like, why so poorly?
Right.
Like, you're also misrepresenting the art form.
And he is very young. Like I look at him as like, wow, that's cool that like some kid started doing Vine videos and then was able to accomplish all this. The song Handlebars is about like that journey from you're a child, you accomplish something and everyone applauds you. You get older, you have crossroads where you have to make a decision on how you apply those skills. Like that's literally what that song is about. Yeah. So he,
it's not like it's a metaphor. It's very literally spelled out in this.
Literally,
song.
he took the wrong path in the. Like he watched the video and just took the wrong path in the video.
Right.
But also, because we both have this background as teachers, we're like, all right, well, it's a teachable moment for him. Hopefully, he listens. Hopefully, he like pivots. And I think to have a month later his thing in the forest. His thing in Japan, like that's an opportunity. I'm hoping that there is some actual reflection going on. You never know these days if it's performative or not, but I hope there's some genuine reflection happening there.
So would you work with him if he reached out to you and said, let's do something together? Would there be, obviously there probably would be caveats to that, but would you initially be open to the idea?
I think right now we're more interested in elevating the voices of women who like didn't just now learn about misogyny, but have been like dealing with it their entire lives, and so I think that's where we are right now with it. Like, but yeah, I hope he.
I mean, that's a valid cause. It's like what a valid movement.
Right.
And I think if any what we even hoped for in the conversation with him, was just like, hey, could you redirect some of this towards women right now?
Yeah.
Like, and I think what Jamie just said, like, yeah, like that's what needs to be happening in that kind of situation.
But I feel like that's something that you do masterfully in the sense that you always direct the conversation to a positive way. Like even as you say with this response video, it's a teachable moment, and you're still bringing the attention to the areas that need it. And I guess my sort of follow-on questions from that was going to be, in terms of the political climate that we're in right now, how difficult is it to get up every morning and continue fighting? And have you ever had a day where you were just like, I can't do it anymore, like I'm just exhausted? And if you did, how did you get over that?
I mean, I think what's nice about being a part of a community is that there's other people that are a part of it, right? So one person might wake up feeling that way, like, and then someone else calls you up and says, "Hey, we're going to the studio today. Let's go." Like, I'm kind of tired. Well, just come on in, and you'll get over it, and we can get into it, or we can write about whatever's on your mind. And so everything, even if there's conflicts that you have, I think the hardest thing about sort of caring about the world is not the macro, but the micro. If you're at odds with one another, if you're having conflicts with your family or your best friends or any of those things, then that can eat at you. And I think that's when you can lose hope, because you then feel especially alone. So I think healing some of those, just like very central relationships in your life, can make sure that you're always fueling each other and feeding each other.
Isolation. It's an incredible modern myth and modern disease. That's fertile soil for where depression and all these other things kind of take place. And I think as artists, all of those feelings are not alien to us. Actually, I think you find in general, like, the creative disposition is oriented towards those feelings. So it's really important to kind of be able to at least be able to like be in community, so that you can kind of do that thing where like somebody else can like be there and help you with it. As long as we are isolated, and I think one of the things that's happening in this political climate is our echo chambers are becoming perfect. Right? We're on the internet, we're like on our social media. It's confirming everything that we already believe or already feel. So it makes it really hard to see the daylight or the sunshine or anything else. So like I can even be in my like super liberal radical echo bubble and actually not know what's going on like with the good news or what's even happening, or like locally how people are doing amazing things.
Right.
So I do feel like in many ways, and this might be old fart me talking, but like the screen is not going to bring you joy.
Right.
I think that right now we're distracted as opposed to content. And I think contentment usually comes from being able to be useful and be of service. And I think that most human beings want to be useful in something. And so for us, like one of the things that keeps me going is like a lot of the times I'll get down really low. And then like Jamie might send me, it's like, hey, I've got a new verse on something. I've got something to do.
Right.
I have to respond to like my best friend's verse, kind
Right.
of a thing. And sometimes it's not even a matter of getting over it. It's kind of like just like circumventing the thing entirely and creating something. And then by the end of the day, I've forgotten how hard it was to get out of the bed.
Right.
Right. Like, so like sometimes like that first hurdle. But like for us, art has been one of those things. But I think creation in general is actually one of the ways that we kind of keep on going. Because the stagnation, the isolation will convince us all that we can't do anything.
Now, you guys are extremely active in the community, and you do a lot of activism locally. You guys released I don't know, call it, is it an EP of protest chants?
Yeah, sure.
If we call it an EP of protest chants?
yeah.
So you guys are very sort of like instrumental in helping people protest the right way. What are your kind of aims for 2018 in terms of creating more tools, or what do you hope to see as your sort of movement progresses? Your own personal or musical movement, I should say.
Joy is a revolutionary practice.
Right.
Right? Right now, I think a lot of times we will organize out of response and we'll be angry, kind of a thing. It's like, okay, that's fine, that's great, but can we proactively get together and have an amazing time? And we feel like music and these concerts that we're doing, we're like trying to actually work that idea in. We want people to leave our shows feeling like revived.
Right.
Being able to like feel connected and being able to use the music, which is like what music is for. It's one of the best technologies for people getting connected. We're trying to use our music as an opportunity for that, and then try to figure out more ways to do that kind of practice where we can get people together and be like, you're not alone. We are all here together and we're all breathing and singing at the same time. Like, how does that feel? And just like being able to feel that will be a great case statement against any of that darkness or division, like to be able to feel that light. So one of the things we're working on is like trying to incorporate that into our touring. And then also like we're gonna be doing a bit more, we're trying to do the No Enemies practice back in Denver on a somewhat regular basis type of thing. So like that album with the movement choir, we'd like to be able to like figure out a way just to have that happen regularly, just so people can go there and connect kind of a thing. Because it's also just really good for us to not just be performing, but just to also be like just singing with people.
Right. I mean, I think that what we're trained by our phones is to get really excited if we get a lot of likes on something. I mean, that it's very addictive at whatever level. If it's just you posting a photo and seeing what your friends like, or getting 1 million responses in one day to the Logan Paul response, all of those can feel intoxicating, and it's a very temporary thing. The second you've checked, the number, and you want to check again. Oh, is it 1,000,001? Oh my God, So it's training us the wrong direction. It's training us to be in isolation and be staring at our screens. And the reason that singing together has become such a valuable practice for us to kind of bring people together to do is that it's a whole lot of it is about the singing, but it's also just physically getting together, being in the same space, having a reason that is not future oriented, but is present oriented. We're enjoying each other's presence, each other's voices in those exact moments when we do that. And so we just need more reasons to get together with people that might come from a variety of backgrounds.
So you have gone through a few changes in the lineup of your live shows.
Yeah.
Do you still talk to all of your old bandmates?
Yeah, well, what was it? Just a few days ago, Jesse played with us in Ithaca.
Oh, well, that's handy. That he was just around.
Well, yeah, because he's getting his. I'm not going to get it right. He's getting his PhD in economic psychology and such. But we're just like, no, man, like when you can, like let's play.
Right.
And so like he said, well, yeah, he's getting his doctorate out there. Like he reached out, we're like, yeah, let's make it happen. So he played 4 songs with us. When we can in Denver with Mackenzie, like when she's available, like we try to do shows with her and things like that. Yeah.
But you guys are always sort of moving forward in terms of the sound. Is there any instruments that you'd kind of like to bring in live, or anything that you've always wanted to kind of put on an album?
That's a good question. The theremin is underutilized, I'd say.
I was going to say, I'm looking forward to the dystopian Flobots album where it's all just sci-fi craft work.
Right, right.
Oh my God, that sounds awesome.
Right?
What instrument would you like for us to incorporate?
Me?
What would you like to nominate?
Yeah, like you got a value.
And what would you like to nominate?
What's the instrument that you blow into and you play the keyboard
Saxophone.
at the same time?
Oh, no, we've done that.
Where you go, oh, is that on an album?
It's part of a live show, the melodica.
Oh wait, the melodica.
Melodica,
Oh, you're
yeah.
not talking about the talk box. You're talking about the melodica. Yes, yeah, on Stop the Apocalypse.
We used to do a melodica intro during live shows.
Or what about the is it the Eclipse drums? That like they're the drums that are bashed with panels that are like in the pentatonic scale.
Yes,
Oh,
the
wow.
finger drum. So
Yeah.
I talked to the hand pan. Handpan. So we've actually.
I'm after a writing credit on the next album in case anyone hasn't realised what this is yet.
Or maybe a producer credit. Right?
Oh, brilliant,
Right.
producer.
Yeah.
I like that, you know?
Yeah, don't it's not legally binding. But there's actually a handpan artist who I met, who I actually, like, one of the things that we're going to sit down and try to do some recording with him, because like, it's just so hauntingly beautiful.
Right.
So yeah, because and he's actually a fan of ours, and yes. So like, okay, give us one that we're not going to that we haven't thought of yet.
Yeah.
I don't know. Theremin's a good one again. I'm not really sure.
You're just naming all these mainstream instruments,
Yeah,
man.
man.
all of these
Basic.
mainstream,
So
you know.
basic.
Like, who hasn't seen the handpan theremin duo? With the
That combo's
rappers
been done
over
to death, man. I think like Lady Gaga was doing it. No.
Probably. I mean, more power to her. More power to her.
joking.
I mean, there's nothing that lady can't do, to be fair.
No, absolutely.
I guess my last question is, if you guys could tour anywhere else, where's kind of your where are your sights sort of set on next?
I would love to do Japan, Australia.
Japan, Australia.
Maybe I'm biased. I definitely Japan would be a lot of fun. But we've talked about trying to make it over there.
And Mexico.
Yeah, Mexico actually.
Mexico and Brazil.
Brazil are always lovely. People always seem to be from Brazil when they ask for musicians to go and play there.
Yeah.
Always.
Which is like, if you're in Brazil, why do you need any musicians?
Yes,
to
it's
come?
true.
You know, like, why do you need anyone else to come from anywhere
Well,
else?
it kind of feels like New Orleans, but an entire continent of
Right.
incredible musicians. Yeah, and Japan is a huge one. Like that'd be awesome. And we still never played Hawaii either.
Hawaii. Damn, a Flobots gig in Hawaii.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn, that's the
We'd be a
chillest thing
week-long
ever.
residency.
That'd
right?
be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Ukulele everything. It'd be fun.
Ukulele,
Just
yeah.
the ukulele versions.
But then also like
Ukulele everything too. Ukulele.
like all over the place. But we also like through Nako Bear and stuff. We've got some friends over there. It'd be really fun to like jam with Tubby Love and such. Like if we did a show in Hawaii.
Well, that's it. You've committed to record now.
Okay,
So,
yeah, but now we're planning.
What
a tour.
are
This
the
is great.
legal things are we signing away? Right?
Yeah.
Firstborn. What else? What else do you need,
Houses,
Ash?
I think we got
Houses,
2018 is pretty well set now. We got the tour. We got the instrumentation change.
Yeah, new bands, everything.
absolutely.
Great. New band members, sorry, new instruments.
Yeah.
I mean, is there anything else you want me to do for you? Sort your life
No,
out?
you've done- what else can
Psychic readings.
Yeah.
My guts have been. I've had a little trouble in my stomach. Do you have any recommendations for flatulence?
I don't know. I would guess maybe some milk and magnesia.
Okay, that's
You
good.
know?
Man, you just.
Maybe you should go to a chicken shop that sells a couple of day-old chicken. That'll clean you right out. Take some Imodium afterwards, you know?
Day old chicken, man.
We'll go there right now. We'll go there right now.
Donuts I'll do, but man, day old chicken, that sounds iffy.
Make
All
sure
right.
it's raw and make sure it's going to give you food
Oh,
poisoning.
my God.
And then after that,
You just be
you'll be
cleared
fine.
out. You'll be cleared
just
out.
pop an Imodium,
Yeah.
fine.
So-
Other whatever they are available. It doesn't have to be Imodium. I'm not sponsored by them. Hashtag ad.
So,
Hashtag spawn.
I feel like you have like some sort of weird question that you haven't asked.
Me personally, nothing particularly weird. I always like to sort of feel stuff out. Me personally, I was going to say like, you know, I always like to talk very in depth about the dark side of like the nuclear holocaust.
Yes.
And for some reason recently, I've had very graphic dreams where I've experienced my flesh actually being wrenched off of my skeleton and felt it and gone, well, that's weird. So my question was, in terms of nuclear apocalypse, you know, say that Hawaii happens again, but for real.
Yes.
What do you do? What's your initial movements?
Oh,
This is awesome because I guarantee you that Stefan has thought about this in depth.
yes, I have.
Was it in the box of wisdom that you said to someone, just a little cigar box? Plan for nuclear holocaust.
No, nobody wanted the box of wisdom, so I never ended up writing.
I'm
it.
upset. I'll take
Yeah.
the box of
This
wisdom.
was a
if it's
Kickstarter
around.
prize that they're
There's a
discussing.
Kickstarter prize, yeah. But it sounds like you had like a very T2 Sarah Connor kind of vision.
Yes, I
Right.
think that the fact that I had read a Reddit thread recently that said they had won an award from science
Yeah.
and scientists because it was so accurate,
Yeah.
I think has burned that gif into my brain,
Or it burned your skin off of your
Yes.
bone.
literally off of me, and I was like, there is a real chance that there might be button pushing. I
Yeah.
don't think anything really will happen because I imagine that 20,000 countries will blow it out of the sky, and I'm sure the radiation fallout will land on some country that no one really cares about and has forgotten about and has no economic power whatsoever. And they'll be in a bad shape, but I imagine the rest of us will be fine, which is sad. But
Yeah, but I think a lot of the parts in the United States will get hit.
I mean, technically they can hit anywhere except for Colorado, which, to be honest, is pretty great. Maybe we should just move to Colorado.
That's where we live.
No, I know, but as in, like, we don't.
Yeah.
I mean, like, New
No,
York's
stay out of
just
Colorado. We got too many people. Gentrification is
do.
terrible. Like, no, Colorado sucks.
I'm tuning
We
this whole
can't take any
conversation
more
out
people.
to maintain hope. So.
Yeah. No, but like, I don't know. Like, to get super serious about your question, like since I lost both of my parents at an early age and all those things, I'm constantly thinking about like how can the world, like how can the other shoe drop, that kind of thing. And I find like a lot of serenity in knowing that like something may happen, and I can like so like I find out that the bombs are coming. I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to hang out with my wife, and we're gonna have a beautiful time. We'll probably go to the park, have a picnic, call up family, and enjoy that day. Just enjoy it, because for me, ultimately, like it may be through atomic holocaust, it may be a heart attack when you're 90, but that day is going to come. So why be afraid of it?
God, I hope it's when you're 90 and not on a Holocaust.
No.
Like, you've at least got 2 albums in you.
We'll lean towards the second.
Well, but that's what I'm just saying. Like, in any of these scenarios, like that death will come. Need it be terrifying?
I guess maybe because I'd like to think that I'm still vaguely young, that I haven't done enough and seen enough. But that's my own insecurities, I guess, playing devil's advocate.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
Do you have a particular Holocaust plan? I can't believe that this was the weird question that I was like, I'm not going to ask. It's a bit weird, and it's a bit left field for me.
But atomic holocaust, like I feel like that's kind of like in-game type stuff, like zombie apocalypse or something like that. That's the one you have to kind of like plot and make certain moves. Like if a bomb hits, it's just like, okay, well,
that's very finite.
Yeah, very finite.
Much
but like the one that's really tough is the possibility of a whole bunch of people dying and you're still alive. And then where do your decisions to like persist and all those things? That's the stuff that's crazy to me. But Jamie, you're atomic.
I mean, for me, I would say my approach towards nuclear holocaust is, I'll just do my personal best not to cause one. And that's all any of us can ever do.
I mean, why would you want to end on anything other than that? That's pretty much the most wholesome thing I think has ever been said in an interview with me. So thank you very much.
Thank you
I hope
so
you have
much,
a wonderful
Ash.
tour.
Thank you.
And I hope that you get to see Europe. Oh, this is nice. Thank you. I don't get enough hugs. I'm
let's do it.
British.
Yeah,
Normally
no.
I don't like being touched.
Teach this to your people.
There you go. This is what being touched
do it
feels
all
like.
the way.
It's okay in a respectful manner,
Yeah.
not a Harvey Weinstein manner. So don't
Right,
do that. That's
right.
bad.